Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss a very important topic from the chapter controlling, that is process of controlling. So let us see what steps are followed in the process of controlling. First one is setting performance standards. Standards are the criteria against which actual performance would be measured. Standards are those goals, those criteria, those set you can say the output or whatever performance is required, that is defined in the form of standards. Standards can be set in quantitative as well as qualitative terms. When we say quantitative terms, it means there is a definite unit. For example, we can say that we have to increase our profits by 10%, then 10% is a quantitative standard, right? And how can we say qualitative standard? When we say that this year we have to take steps or we have to adopt measures to improve customer satisfaction, then there is no fixed quantitative criteria to measure the satisfaction level of customer, but we can feel it when we see market trends or when we see our customers preferences for our product. Then we can definitely estimate, we can definitely measure that this level has increased or decreased as compared to previous year, right? So it is a qualitative standard. When the manager sets standards, these should be prescribed in precise manner, in a very accurate manner, right? Why? Because when we measure actual performance for comparison, we can compare it easily if our standards are set in a precise quantitative term. Okay, so we should preferably try to set our standards in quantitative term wherever possible. It is also important that standards should be flexible enough to be modified wherever required. Now, why should standards be flexible? Because we have learnt in our third chapter, if you remember, that was business environment. That environment is very dynamic and business has to work in a dynamic environment, and it can run successfully only if it is able to adapt to the changes of environment. So our standards should also be flexible, so that if there is a situation in which we are required to change ourselves according to the changing environment, we could make necessary changes in the standards, right? So we should keep all these points into consideration while setting our performance standards. Now, second point is measurement of actual performance. Measurement, here we will measure, we will check what actual performance, what actual output has been produced by the employees, right? So once performance standards are set, the next step is measurement of actual performance. Now, when we measure the performance, we should measure it in an objective and reliable manner. It means superior should not show any kind of partiality or bias for any employee, right? There are several techniques for measurement of performance, like we can measure performance while work is in progress, or we can measure it after completion of the work. We can use ratio analysis, we can use pi analysis, etc. to measure the performance of the employees. It is generally believed that measurement should be done after the task is completed. We all know that generally we prefer to measure the performance only once the task is completed, but sometimes it becomes necessary that we should measure the performance while work is in progress. For example, in case of automobile industry, you know, different parts are manufactured at different places or at or in different you can say intervals. If we will not measure their performance while work is in progress, then maybe at the time of assembling of an automobile, some part may not be compatible with the another. The situation may occur. So in that case, we should check the performance while work is in progress, while different parts are being manufactured. Okay. Now, third step is comparing actual performance with standards. In our first step, we have established standards. In second step, we measured the actual performance of the employees. Now here in this step, we compare that actual performance with the standards. Once what is the use of such comparison? This comparison helps us in finding out the difference between the actual result and the desired result, which was set in standards. Okay. Now, fourth point, analyzing deviations. When we have compared our actual performance with the planned performance and we have come to know about the deviations, that there are some kind of deviations or differences in both the performances, then we try to find out the reasons of these differences. Right. While working on this analysis of deviation, we should keep one important factor in mind, that there is always an acceptable range of deviation. It means there is always a limit up to which we can accept the difference between actual performance and planned performance. But if deviation go beyond that limit, then we should pay special attention to these differences. Okay. Now it may also be a concern for the organization that what is the limit for acceptable deviation and beyond the limit beyond which we should pay special attention. So there are two main techniques or two main tools used for this analysis. These are critical point control and management by exception. We will discuss these two tools in detail. First one is critical point control. It is neither economical nor easy to keep a check on each and every activity in an organization. A manager can never control every activity of the organization, right? So control should therefore focus on key result areas. It is known as KRAs, which are critical to the success of an organization. It means if there are any kind of deviations in these areas, then we cannot achieve the success of the organization. So manager pays special attention to these key result areas. If anything goes wrong in these areas or at these critical points, then entire organization will suffer. For example, let's say in a manufacturing concern, we know that we appoint a lot of labor workforce, right? Because we have to get production done, so we need a lot of labor. So and we also know that there is always an annual increase in every kind of cost. So we will describe a limit up to which increase in labor cost can be accepted. Let's say we have taken it as 2%, that if labor cost is increasing by 2% in current year as compared to previous year, then it is an acceptable range, right? But if there is an increase in postal charges, for example, say by 15% or by 20%. Similarly, we can say that there is increase in refreshment of daily consumers, for example, expenditure on tea, snacks, etc. Then we will pay very little attention to this increase, right? But if there is increase in labor cost, then it is a critical area, and then manager definitely will have to pay a special attention to this increase, because we cannot afford increase in labor cost, right? So this is critical point control. Now next technique used for controlling is management by exception. This technique is based on important principle of management concept, that is, an attempt to control everything results in controlling nothing. It means if a manager tries to control everything, he won't be able to control anything. Thus, only significant deviations which go beyond permissible limit should be brought to the notice of management. It means not every little deviation should be brought to the notice of management. We will continue with the previous example, that was labor cost, in which we said that suppose we have decided that 2% increase in labor cost is up to permissible limit, but if there is increase in labor cost more than 2%, then it is a matter of concern and it should be brought to the notice of top management, right? So it is management by exception, that we are not considering the deviation up to 2% increase in labor cost, but after that, beyond that limit, if there is increase in labor cost, then we will definitely bring it to the notice of top management, right? Now last point is taking corrective action. We have found out our deviations, the causes of deviations. We have made an analysis for these deviations. Now we will decide about the corrective actions. What corrective measures we should adopt so that these deviations could be removed and these deviations could not occur in future actions, right? So if deviations are within permissible limit, then we are not required to take any kind of corrective action. But if our deviations go beyond permissible limit, then we will need to adopt measures. We will need to take these corrective actions to remove the deviations. Okay. So that's all for today's topic, in which we learnt about the steps to be followed in the process of controlling. Thank you friends and have a nice day.